Government Television. Welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting. Originating from the County Administrative Center, located at 1115 Truxton Avenue in Bakersfield, California. Grounded in ideas, energy, and innovation, Kern County's vision is to be a driving force for the world's fifth largest economy. And our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve, changing the way they feel about government, those who manage it, and the services it provides. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Good morning. Let me call the meeting to order. Welcome to the June 25th, 2024, 9 a.m. regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. The first item is roll call.
Supervisor Peters.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner. Supervisor Flores.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Thank you. The next item is the salute to the flag. It is going to be It is going to be led this morning. You guys stick with me. I'll make it through today. By Ray, and I'm gonna attempt this, but you correct me. Ray Penabler.
Penalber, yes, sir.
Penalber.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You served in the U.S. Navy from July of 1963 to October of 1967 as an aviation bosun's mate. What is that?
Aviation bosun mate, it's the air wing of the Navy has special categories, and one of them is airplane, helicopters, aircraft handling, maintenance, etc. And that was my category, combat cargo specialist. 2 tours in Vietnam on the USS Tripoli LPH-10. I'm also the plank owner of that vessel, who's been decommissioned for many years. We were involved in the first and the largest amphibious force assault in Vietnam since World War II.
I'm glad you told me that, because that wasn't in my notes here. That's it. That's a lot better than what's in my notes. So you now serve the community however you can, and you continue to serve alongside your comrades in VFW Post 7216.
That is correct. I am an executive officer for Leonard Alvarado, Medal of Honor recipient, born and raised here in Bakersfield, and I'm proud to represent the Post and the American Legion as my colleagues, but the veterans of foreign wars in Bakersfield.
Well, thank you for your service, obviously, to our country, and thank you for coming down to lead us in the flag salute today. Please remain standing at the conclusion of that for a moment of prayer, silence, and meditation, whichever you prefer.
Thank you. Would you all stand, please? And salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arm.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir,
Thank you
very much. The next item is we don't normally have this on our morning agenda. This is a report on actions taken in closed session from our June 18th, 2024, 2 p.m. meeting.
Good morning, board members. As you know, last Tuesday at the conclusion of the PM session, you met in a continued closed session meeting, but there is no reportable action.
Okay. Thank you. The next item is, the reason you're all here today, I'm sure, is our pet of the week. And this is a cute one. So I'm going to ask Nick Cullen to come out here. Apparently there are many like this at our shelter. So, Kathy? Yes, it is. So good morning, Nick. You're not going to have any trouble adopting this one out, I can tell already. So tell us about her.
No pressure. Good morning, Chairman, Council members of the board. Our board pet of the week is Candace. Candace is, she's about an 8 or 9 week old puppy. She has actually siblings in the shelter. She's available for adoption this morning at the Kern County Animal Shelter. And yet another reminder to spay and neuter your pets because there's far too many puppies in our shelter right now.
You said, just off stage a little while ago, you said we have many her age, this size?
Yes.
At the shelter right now.
All
So-
kinds of shapes, sizes, breeds, and ages, unfortunately. But she is cute, and she is available for adoption right now. Candace.
You just implied that they're not all cute, but they're all cute in their own way.
This one is cute, I promise, yes.
Thank you. Let's find Candace our forever home, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Nick. Okay, the next item is our consent agenda. All items listed with a CA or a C above the item number are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. We can act on those all in one motion. Now's the time if you would like to make a comment on any of those items or ask a question. This is the time to do it. I'm going to tell you what those items are. It starts on page 2, items 5 through 7, page 3, all the items 8 through 15. Page 4, all the items 16 through 23. Page 5, items 24 through 30. Page 6, all the items 31 through 36. Page 7, all the items 39 through 47. Page 8, all items 48 through 56. Page 9, items 57 through 64. And page 10 of the AM agenda 64 through 69. Any questions, comments on the consent calendar agenda? Seeing none, I return to the board.
Motion on consent.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you. That takes us back to the top of page 2, under the resolutions and proclamations portion of the meeting. Item 1 proclaims July 2024 as Purple Ribbon Month in Kern County in acknowledgement of Caitlin's Law, and Supervisor Flores will present this.
Thank you. Motion on Purple Ribbon Month.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Scrivener.
Good morning, staff, colleagues, public. It's always a pleasure to be joined by Lito Murillo here because I know when we do that, it's a worthy cause. This cause is no different. This is to proclaim July 2024 as Purple Ribbon Month in Kern County. And what that is basically keeping our children and our pets safe in vehicles. As you know, during the month of July, we're going to endeavor to increase public awareness and the dangers of leaving children in the car. So just for some context, if it's 90 degrees, which is Bakersfield April, the car could easily be 138, and the damage that's done will be done in minutes. Now that it's July and August, it's 109, and for some context, that could easily translate to 176 inside the vehicle, and so instantly, if not soon thereafter, there would be devastating results for any living people there. So nationally, already in 2024, there have been 2 hot car-related deaths. In 2023, the United States lost 29 children, something that's easily avoidable due to being left in the car. So this law is named after Caitlin Marie Russell and all the children that have lost their lives due to preventable injuries. Caitlin's law makes it a citable offense to leave any child 6 years or age younger unattended in a motor vehicle. So in recognition of this, we have a proclamation to declare July 2024 as Purple Ribbon Month in Kern County, signed by all our members of the board and signed by our chairman, David Couch. And now I'd like to introduce Lito Murillo, our director of DHS, to talk about the outreach, more about the month, and any planned activities. Thank you, Lito.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores. Appreciate the proclamation. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thank you again for this proclamation, allowing us the opportunity to create awareness around Purple Ribbon Month for the month of July, which again highlights Caitlin's Law. Supervisor Flores really did a great job, really covering the whole presentation in an instance. But I'm joined here today by Kern County Fire Chief Aaron Duncan, who's part of this effort to create awareness around the importance of not leaving kids unattended in your car. So what's Clayton's Law? As Supervisor Flores alluded to, it is citable offense to leave a child under 6 unattended in a vehicle without the supervision of someone at least 12 years or older. And it was named after Clayton Marie Russell, who in Corona, California, died after being left in a vehicle during extreme heat weather conditions for several hours. First responders say she passed within the first 30 minutes. Very unfortunate, very tragic. This happens quite a bit, unfortunately, more than we care to admit. 29 children deaths just in 2023 alone. Here locally, we are very fortunate that we do not have any deaths, but we want to create this awareness, obviously, to avoid or prevent any tragedies that arise. I can tell you just a short story. A couple weeks back, we had in our parking lot at Human Services, we had a child that was left in a vehicle unattended. Child was about 3 years old. One of our security guards saw it, eventually called 911. The car was running, and sometimes people seem to think if you leave the car running, it's fine. It's not really unsafe to do so. And I can tell you that a car could easily malfunction, the AC could easily go out, so still a tragedy could arise in that instance. When the security guard came back out after calling 911, that individual with that child left, so we didn't necessarily get any other details altogether on what happened there. Supervisor Flores touched on the mere fact that temperatures outside could be manageable for most people. It could be 96, for example, typical summer day in Kern County. But in the car, it could reach 140, 150 degrees. And that's problematic for any adult. But when you think about a child whose body temperature rises 3 to 5 times faster, it can get real catastrophic. So, you know, this happens, unfortunately, more than I care to admit, and it could happen to any one of us in this room. Just the sudden instance of lapse in judgment, lapse in memory, miscommunication, this can result in tragedy. So here are some tips that I just want to leave this room with. Look before you lock. That's a good habit to have, especially during the summer month. Put a reminder in the back seat of the car where your child is sitting. It could be a purse, it could be a backpack, your keys, your phone, just as a subtle reminder of checking in the back where your child may be sitting. Maybe place a toy in front, again, as a subtle reminder to obviously prevent this from happening. Simple reminders like this will go a long way in making sure we prevent these tragedies. Again, I can't stress this enough, it's 100% preventable. So I'd like to show a PSA with KGov's indulgence. I can cue that up.
During a warm, sunny day like today, temperature inside a motor vehicle can reach up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. No one is made for that type of heat, but it is especially dangerous for young children whose body temperatures rise 3 to 5 times faster than an adult's. This type of heat can lead to serious injury or death. In the US, it is far more common than we would like to see. But there are several forms of prevention to keep something like this from happening.
In 2001, the governor of California signed into law Senate Bill 255 called Clayton's Law. The bill was named after Clayton Marie Russell, who died after being left alone in a motor vehicle at the age of 6 months by her caregiver. This law made it illegal for a child 6 years of age or younger to be left alone, unattended in a motor vehicle without the supervision of someone at least 12 years of age or older.
Some prevention methods include never leaving your child alone in or around a vehicle, or placing a child's diaper in the front seat to remind you that your child is in the back. Other methods you can use is placing your phone or home keys or laptop in the back seat. Nowadays, they make a baby car seat alarm and monitor you can clip on the babies or install in your car. Always lock your car, even at home, and make it a habit to look before you lock. By November 2023, the Secretary must issue a final rule that requires all new passenger vehicles to be equipped with a system that alerts the driver to check rear designated seating positions for children or after the vehicle engine or motor is turned off. For more information, visit kcdhs.org or kidsincars.org.
Thank you again for allowing us to create this awareness on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Supervisor. That takes us to item 2, which proclaims June 24 through 28, 2024 as National Boys and Girls Club Week in Kern County, and Supervisor Perez will make this presentation.
We don't have quorum, so I'll wait a moment. Jeff, no, take your time, please. Motion on proclamation.
Second.
Thank you, Jeff.
The motion is approved. 3 ayes, 2 absent. Supervisor Peters, Supervisor Scrivener.
Supervisor Peters had to step away to make a phone call urgently. He will be back, just to let you know. Thank you.
When I was a young girl, we used to have our best times as children were at the Boys and Girls Club. There wasn't a whole lot to do, you know, and Boys and Girls Club had lots to do. So it was really a place to go and find community and find adults who care about you. And so for those reasons, and also because, as I've told you before, Rob, we used to line up outside of there for butter and cheese when we were kids, which is great. So it was so much more than, you know, it was really a pillar and a center of the community, so today I am incredibly grateful, Honorable Chairman and colleagues. I am grateful to stand before you today and proclaim June 24th through June 28th as National Boys and Girls Club Week in Kern County. There are now 70 Boys and Girls Clubs, 70, throughout Kern County and all of our districts, serving over 10,000 young people each year. The programs and activities provided by the Girls and Boys Club here in Kern County are simply amazing, absolutely vital to the young lives, like my own, that they serve. The club provides an assortment of programs just as unique as its young members, from visual and performing arts to sports and my favorite, job readiness. Our local clubs equip young people with the life skills needed to graduate high school and be well prepared for life and work by offering tested, proven, and nationally recognized programs. We call this best practices in 5 core areas: character and leadership, education and career development, health and life skills, the arts and sports and fitness, and recreation. Our local saint, Rob Duco, board president of the Boys and Girls Club of Kern County, is here to share his heart. Thank you, Rob. You are, one of my heroes in Kern County. So it is a privilege and an honor, and with great gratitude, that I stand here and proclaim alongside you June 24th through June 28th, National Boys and Girls Club Week. Recognition has been entered into the official board minutes and signed by our chairman, David Couch. So now, Rob, the floor is yours. Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. I've never been introduced like that before.
I meant it.
Chairman Couch, Supervisor Flores. As you know, my name is Rob Duco, and you know me as the local public affairs manager for Southern California Gas Company here in Kern County. But this year, I also have the pleasure of serving as the chairman of the board of directors of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Kern County. Joining me here today, we have Orlando Trevino, Barry Hill, and Gloria Williams from our staff, and Sharif Gurgis from our board of directors as well. Yay. As you've heard me say before, since 1867, SoCal Gas has been delivering clean, safe, affordable, and reliable energy to our customers. And today we are the largest natural gas utility in the United States, with the goal of being the cleanest, safest, and most innovative energy infrastructure company in America. I tell you this to draw some parallels to the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club is actually older than SoCalGas. The club traces its roots to Hartford, Connecticut, where in 1860, 4 women organized the first club, believing that boys who roam the streets should have a positive alternative. With character development as the cornerstone of the experience, the club focused on capturing boys' interests, improving their behavior, and increasing their personal expectations and goals. This is still reflected today in our club's mission, which is to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. The National Boys Club took hold in 1906, and in 1966, the Boys Club of Bakersfield was formed, and that's what's evolved into today's Boys and Girls Clubs of Kern County. Today, just as SoCalGas is the largest natural gas utility in America, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Kern County is one of the 3 largest, depending on which metric you use, one of the 3 largest clubs in America out of more than 4,000 clubs. You heard Supervisor Perez give some statistics. She said more than 10,000 kids. It's actually more than 12,000 individual kids, but every day during the school year, 8,000 kids each day come to our clubs at the 3 standalone and 67 sites, 66 of them in Kern County. One is at the Gorman School in LA County. From Lake Isabella to Fraser Park and from McFarland to Tehachapi, as Supervisor Perez mentioned, in all 5 supervisorial districts. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Kern County fills the gap between school and home. We provide welcoming, positive environments in which kids and teens have fun, participate in life-changing programs, and build supportive relationships with peers and caring adults. These services are provided through grants, direct payments by parents, and contracts with 11 school districts. And this summer, I mentioned during the school year, but this summer, 1,500 kids are at club sites each day, many of them thanks to contracts with those same school district partners. Chairman Couch previously served on our board, and I think you were chair and may have been here accepting this proclamation once upon a time like I am today. And you now serve on our legacy board, and thank you for that. Supervisor Flores, I'm very sure you've been at the club, and Supervisor Peters now rejoining us, I believe has been too, but I invite you all, and I know Supervisor Perez has been there, I invite you all to come anytime. Again, bring friends, bring others who want to see the great work being done. And I didn't have it in my notes, but Supervisor Perez mentioned food. We serve several 100,000 meals each year, something that started before COVID, peaked during COVID at almost 1 million meals a year, and now we are still serving meals 5 days a week to kids who may have no other place to eat. So thank you very much for this recognition. Thank you to our staff and board members who make this happen and for helping the kids in our community who need us most. Thank you very much.
So let's here again. Like we all like each other. Come on. Here we go.
Thank you all for being here. You're one of those institutions in Kern County that people rely upon, and you don't get enough credit for what you do. Thank you very much. That takes us to item 3, which is public presentations, which is the portion of the meeting that is reserved for persons to speak to us about any item that is not on the agenda but is under the jurisdiction of the board. We try to keep those comments to a couple of minutes. Who would like to be first? Oh, somebody's already there. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Couch, Board of Supervisors. I'm Vince Myoko. I'm the president of the Taft Republican Assembly. It's day 63 of Where's Supervisor Zach Scrivener. Even though the elected position of supervisor is nonpartisan, the majority of you supervisors are registered Republicans. With that said, I ask each of you supervisors who are leaders of the Republican Party of Kern County to demand that the Kern County Republican Party state its position on the status and whereabouts of Zach Scrivener. The voters of Kern County, and specifically the voters of District 2, are long overdue an update and the path forward on this matter. I have credible sources that the Kern County Republican Party does not want Scrivener to reside because Governor Newsom will appoint his replacement. I understand it's a choose your poison situation, but the citizens and taxpayers of District 2 need a competent supervisor. In the event all of you were to disappear like Scrivener and the whole county would be run by taxpayer-paid government staff, it would illustrate that each of you are not true representatives of the people and not worthy of your generous taxpayer-paid salaries and benefits. I believe the main reason Kern County is in this situation is because of paid political consultants. Political consultants find candidates to run for office to represent their big money donors and meet their donors' interests. The everyday man and woman of Kern County has no representation. With the upcoming election looming, if Kern County voters want true change, I highly recommend people to vote for grassroots candidates that have no ties to political consultants. So again, I ask, where is Supervisor Zach Scrivener? Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. I'm going to ask that we not burst into applause for each and every speaker because it's going to, you know, I'm being quiet and respectful as you're speaking. I'm just simply asking that you do the same. Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Glenn Clayton, C-L-A-Y-T-O-N. Mr. Chairman, good morning, and board members. The California State Constitution and statutes say that you, the Board of Supervisors, enact legislation governing the county and determine policies for the operation of our county. In our government vision statement says to create maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. The county government mission statement says to enhance the quality of life in Kern County by protecting and serving our citizens. Kern County Administration Policy and Procedures Manual state county officers elected or appointed have a duty of loyalty and duty of care in fulfilling their trust in government service. And these duties mandate knowledge and compliance with federal, state laws and regulations. For the past several months, we have stated our concerns to you, such as in May, the concern we need to clean up our voter rolls. We have also brought to your attention the concerned citizens observed the 53,374 registered voters added and removed in the month of February of 2024. This was done by reviewing, you may recall, reading the public data on kernvote.com and Secretary of State's county reporting. Men and women, the elections are coming in November, and with all of our heart, we want a fair and honest election, a transparent election in Kern County. That's why we ask you these questions, wanting you to look into these matters. As a nation, we don't want a monarchy. We don't want a king. We don't want an oligarchy or rule by few. We want a republic. We want a nation that is ruled by law. We want the United States of, did you hear me? United States of America. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Clayton. You're going to get...
7 people, I'm sorry, 7 presenters.
I'm sorry?
We have 7 presenters, I'm sorry.
No problem. You're going to get a report. I think Ms. Espinoza is here this morning, and she's going to have, we're going to ask her to give an update under the next item. Good morning, Mr. Robles.
Good morning. My name is Ralph Robles, R-O-B-L-E-S. I'd like to provide this for you. And a thumb drive that you are welcome to show as I'm speaking.
I'm sorry, did you say you wanted to show that while you're speaking?
If I may.
Can't do that.
There's no sound, so you can just view it.
I'll tell you what the policy is. We will show video or pictures, but we need you to have provided those, and I've forgotten the time limit, a couple of days before, so the staff can review what it's going to be before we put it on the screen.
That's fine. I'll just speak.
Okay.
On March 7th, 2024, at 7:38 p.m. Pacific time, a Kern County election worker entered the tabulator room. This employee was observed on kernvote.com video link to insert a memory stick or thumb drive into the laptops which were connected with and next to each tabulator. He was then recorded via phone camera, finishing the last 2 laptop tabulators after having previously been observed inserting the memory stick into the previous laptops. This is a shocking breach of security protocols and certification procedures. The certification of these tabulators is now questionable, and any election results should be suspect. As per the California Public Records Act, I am requesting a copy of the tabulator room access logbook along with the SOP procedures rulebook on certification of these machines for the 2004 election cycle. I am also requesting a forensic audit of this election, 5 March 2024, because of this breach of protocol and certification standards. I am also requesting a forensic audit of this memory device, along with any other memory devices and video recordings of this event. Plus, I am asking for the log entries, or excuse me, the logbooks for the memory devices and for the tabulators.
Excuse me, could I get you guys to hold it down a little bit? Thank you, Mr. Robles.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
They tell me that this can't be seen, but I'm pretty sure you can see the basics of this graphic representation. Andy Hensel, Hensel.
I wouldn't be so sure.
This shows.
I'm serious, I can't make that out. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I think it says Y right there.
I'm going to tell you what it represents, okay? It's just one sample of data from our voter rolls, and it's from the Kern vote website.
Did you give us your name already?
I did.
I'm sorry.
Hensel, Hensel.
Thank you.
Among other things, it gives a total number of registered votes on any given day. The graph tracks the data from January 5th, when sample ballots were sent out, to Election Day on March 5th. Notice that on February 9th, the number increased by 54,374 fictitious voters. That's about the size of the city of Delano. I know they're fictitious because they all disappeared 18 days later, 10 days before the election. No harm, no foul, you say. But let me speculate what happened during that 18 days. Because this is what happened in other counties. Ballots were printed from these fictitious voters, and ballots are filled out for the candidates you think must win. If it doesn't look like they are winning, then you can put these ballots in the tabulator. And suddenly, overnight, you have a winner. And suddenly, overnight, you have totalitarianism. And you are part of this if you certify these elections. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen.
Yes, there is. It's right here.
Hang on. Anybody after you to speak on this subject?
Yes.
Who?
These,
or how many?
These three gentlemen right here.
There's 3 of us left after this gentleman.
Okay, well, there's a bunch of people in line over here as well. So let's be, but we're taking all of, let's do this. We're taking all of you because you're on one subject. Is there anybody here that would like to speak about the same subject? Thank you. Proceed. I'm sorry?
On this subject, yes. This subject, yes. There's 3 more. There's 3 more.
Other than the 3 that you just mentioned?
That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Dennis.
That's okay. Good morning, Chairman Couch and attending supervisors. Thank you for letting me speak. I wish to rebut our local news media
Can you
and
state
newspaper.
your name for the record, sir?
I'm sorry, Dennis McLean, MC capital L-E-A-N. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak. I wish to rebut our local news media and newspaper who labeled our local concerned citizens as election deniers. Your board was invited last Friday evening to an Election Integrity Project of California presentation that exposes the local, state, and nationwide election fraud. I did not see any supervisors in attendance. Are you aware there is no verification of citizenship required when people register to vote? With open borders for the last 4 years, crime and illegal voting activity has skyrocketed. For those of you supervisors who ask local citizens for proof of election fraud, I go back to election 2020, where there were over 12,000 more votes cast than votes counted. That blatant denial of voter fraud was of no concern to the previous ROV or your board. I support a representative constitutional republic, not the existing majority rules democracy that exists today. We support in-person voting, ID required, and hand counting results. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dennis.
Good morning, Board. Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Morning.
God bless America. I am a concerned citizen and a retired Marine. Good morning, Supervisors and Chairman. Judicial Watch notified California.
I'm sorry, can you state your name for the record?
Oh, Charles Shen. I got excited. Shinn. Judicial Watch notified California Secretary of State and 46 counties, including Kern, who are in violation of the 1993 NVRA provisions in July of 2023. 2 subsequent Judicial Watch letters followed until concerned citizens introduced that 3rd letter on 19 December 2023 at the Board of Supervisors meeting AM session. We have since informed and warned where our election department has compiled lengthy failures complying with laws and provisions of the NVRA and the EAC, that's the EVAS bi-yearly report. Kern is the worst offender by not publishing election statistics. We are backlogged to November of 2020, where Judicial Watch noted no data reported in 57 of Kern County's categories. Thus, Judicial Watch sued Secretary of State and Kern on 6 March of 2024. Our ROV has failed miserably. Concerned citizens demand that the next EVAS report, which is due in 5 short months, that'll be this November, submit on time or she should face disciplinary action. On 23 January, Chairman Couch requested Amy provide Kern County citizens with a 5-year report on past removals. These are mandated, lawful removals of Kern's vote rolls. We are still waiting to read the categories and numbers as removed. These statistics are years overdue, which is inexcusable for an elected official. We're waiting for a public explanation detailing the countywide poll book failure. This prevented in-person voting by half a day on 19 March of 2024 during Kern's special election, which just had spent $2.7 million upgrade last year. It was a giant fiasco. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shen.
Get this out of the way right off the bat. Name's Jeff Sanders.
Attaboy.
I was going to refer to the article that was written. In this article, again, Amy suggests that we're election deniers, and I don't believe that requesting transparency in our elections process is denying anything. I do believe requesting interfering with that transparency is election interference. Amy also brought up crowded conditions in the process area to justify the attempt to limit the public's constitutional right to observe the county signature verification and counting. I agree we should have more room to allow more people in to see and practice their constitutional right to observe these constitutional verification of our votes. The other process we have of getting in and out is sometimes belabored. It seems like intentionally intermittent breaks have to be taken. They're not scheduled. They just say, oh, we got to shut down for a moment, just as an inconvenience. Other things that were put in place where you can't sit, and then they'll put a fan right up your backside, so it's very distracting. And they say it's for the people there. So we just would appreciate more access and a more congenial approach to letting us in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders.
Ms. Krause, could you provide them with copies of this, please? You can bring the extras back to me. Thank you, ma'am. Chairman Couch, Board of Supervisors, good morning. I'll wait until you have that in hand.
We have it.
Thank you very much. My name is Jim Robinson, R-O-B-I-N-S-O-N. I'm County Chair and Assembly Member for New California State, local teacher and musician. And I gave Ms. Espinoza a reiterated copy of this particular declaration, which we served her back in April of this year, waiting for her to, we were expecting a response within 10 days. She took 12 days. And I asked her why she only responded to one of the 7 questions that were on that declaration, which was signed by 112 people. She said that she didn't feel it was appropriate to address anything more than the one question, question number 6, that she addressed. I'd like to go ahead and revisit that at another time. With regards to my visit today, there's been $1 million that was spent. This is coming from a Bakersfield, California article, by the way, dated June 21st by John Donegan. This is where we're getting the information from. It's the easiest place to get it. Apparently, there was $1 million spent for improvements by the ROV for security cameras over drop boxes, live streaming of ballots, sorting, additional signature checking equipment, etc. And I was wondering if that $1 million is going to be reimbursed by the Help America Vote Act as the additional $168,000 that's in the next point that I'm going to make. And when will Kern County receive the $168,000 grant that was allocated by the Help America Vote Act to warehouse the voting machines for the purpose of processing ballots? And third point, at the risk of falling prey to accusations of propagating misinformation or disinformation about elections, is it in the interest of transparency that voting equipment is to be prepared at a warehouse under supervision of indoor cameras within a facility accessible only to people with electronic badges? Now, we hear a lot of talk about transparency. We're just not seeing anything other than talk about transparency. That's what these issues are, and I hope you take the time to go ahead and read that declaration, because we'll be back to go ahead and ask some questions. Thank you so much for your time. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Morning.
Good morning, Board. My name is Drake Morrison, and I am a librarian for the Kern County Library. Our department has provided countless free programs for all ages, free lunches for kids daily, 22 branches available to the public, and so much more. But we are also one of the lowest paid departments in the county. I work full-time running one of the branches, rotating a 6-day and 4-day week, just so we make sure that we have coverage at all times. Yet I struggle each month to pay even my essential bills such as rent, PG&E, and car insurance. If I'm struggling as a supervisor, I can't even imagine how my fellow staff members who get paid less struggle each month. I am one of 2 librarians funded to run a branch. That means 20 branches are run by a staff member with the same duties as me, but are paid much less. They deserve the opportunity to be promoted and get the pay that they rightfully deserve for the duties that they do. County wages need to be raised so that every county employee can sleep at night without the fear of their PG&E being cut off or being evicted from their home. So we ask of you to please work with our union to improve our working conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison.
Good morning, Board. My name is Sher Bowen. I am a recovery specialist with Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. My story does not start there, however. I am a product of what the county has to offer for mental health services. I have been through correctional behavioral health as well as benefiting from outpatient services during my time struggling with my mental illness. I come to you today to ask you to please take action for my local colleagues as well as myself, because I come to you doing a job that only one person in the county does at this moment. I work for the long-term care team. I provide specialty mental health services to our most acute clients that we place out of county because of their acuteness and the ability for us to be able to place them within this county. So I do a job that only one person is able to do. And I beg you to please consider that the retention in this county is costing anywhere from $10,000 to $14,000 to hire one person, right? So we're spending this money to hire people. Our community is suffering when we lose them to caseloads of up to 110 clients per caseload, okay? And this is on an outpatient setting, which I have also participated in. It also provides our community a safe haven for those clients that are experiencing mental health. And if we're not able to retain those individuals that are so proud to serve our county, what are we going to do to serve our community and make our community a safer place for those individuals to live? I also ask you to please consider that not only my family, but all of my colleagues' families are also burdened by the jobs that we do. I do a very dangerous job. I go into state hospitals such as Patton. I go to Intercommunity Hospital down in LA. I provide a service that nobody else does. I thank you, and I call you to please, please bargain with our union. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bowden. Could I get everybody to quick check on their cell phones and turn them off, please? Or silence them. Thank you. Who'll be next?
Hello, my name is Socorro Valandria, and that's V as in Victor, E-L-A-N-D-R-I-A. I am here to address the critical issues of employee retention and workplace safety that we are facing. As an office service technician working in front reception, I wear many hats, and I'm often the first point of contact for our clients. The nature of work combined with the environment we operate in places us at significant risk daily. Our clients often come from challenging backgrounds and exhibit severe mental health issues. My first week on the job, I experienced threats to my life, and I was yelled at and spat at. One particular concerning incident involves a client who frequently comes in, pretends to point a gun at me, and threatens my life. Clients are becoming increasingly resourceful, sometimes tracking down personal information about staff members, including where we live and the cars we drive. This raises a serious safety concern, not just for us, but for our families as well. I now live in fear that someone's going to get my address and go after my grandchildren. The case managers and substance abuse counselors are particularly hard hit with growing caseloads due to being understaffed and overworked. Our most compassionate case managers are quitting because the demands of their job far exceeds the compensation they receive. The understaffing issues extends to our therapists who have full schedules but no case managers to support field visits or locate clients. This creates a vicious cycle where caseloads increase, stress levels rise, and employee retention plummets. New hired office technicians are quickly overwhelmed by the demand and the dangers of work and often quit soon after being trained, which further exacerbates our workload and stress. Every day we strive to keep our streets and neighborhoods safe, but this battle we cannot win if we continue to lose employees at this rate.
Ms. Valandria?
Pardon?
We try to keep our comments to 2 minutes. Can I ask you to bring your comments to a close?
Oh.
Thank you.
The impact of the public, well, I urge this board to collaborate with my union to negotiate a stronger union contract that addresses these critical issues. We need a strong union contract that will help retain our dedicated employees and ensure safety and allow us to continue serving our community effectively.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Who'll be next?
Hi, my name is Rebecca Graven. I too am asking the board to work with our union to be able to get higher wages due to the fact that of what Ms. Valandria just stated in regards to substance abuse counselors. Excuse me, I am one of them. And we go into very dangerous spots. We go into the encampments that are we don't know if we're gonna make it out or not. We go into homes that are infested with bed bugs, cockroaches, to provide services for our community who deserve it. You know, I have been in this field for several years, and it's been my due diligence to be able to serve the community of Kern County, to be able to give what was given to me. And that was freedom from homelessness, freedom from addiction, freedom from living from house to house and never knowing where I'm gonna be. And my goal is to help the community of Kern County to be able to not have to do that. But with as much as my workload is and the pay that I get, I'm having to worry about where I'm gonna live. As for right now, I'm having to downsize because I can't afford it. And that's not fair to my children. My children are having to change schools because we had to downsize because of the pay. And I'm hardly ever able to spend time because of the workload that I carry. So I ask the board to please consider working with our union. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you guys doing? My name is Jose Morentes Arredondo. And as you can see, we're all here, right? We're representing our county. I am an accredited clinician, substance use specialist for the Kern County Behavioral Health. We're having a hard time retaining our licensed and unlicensed professionals. Behavioral health is even offering a recruitment fee, a referral fee to recruit new employees. That's one. So retention is really hard, keeping our employees there due to the circumstances of the overworkload. Safety, the population that we work with, well, the people without homes, the fentanyl crisis, 5150 crisis, which is danger to self and danger to others and gravely disabled. And we don't know what we're going to get into, what state these people are in. Some of them are out of jail, some of them out of state hospitals. We're the front line. Yes, we are dealing with the people in those encampments. Sometimes the conditions are dangerous. Most likely clients are under the influence of drugs. This really takes a special person to do this kind of job. And we love this job. We love what we do because we want to help our community. All we are asking is that the Kern County Board of Supervisors and our union local SEIU 521 work together to come up with a fair contract. That's all we are doing here. We're not asking for anything more. Thank you very much for your time, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Morning.
Chairman Couch, members of the board, good morning. My name is Tina Croxton, Croxton. I'm a registered nurse with 20 years of psych nurse experience, the last 5.5 years with Kern Behavioral Health. I'm a member of my union, SEIU Local 521. I'm here to share my concerns about job retention issues, which have existed for quite some time at Kern Behavioral. I worry about how this affects continuity of care for our most vulnerable clients. Behavioral health has so many knowledgeable and talented doctors, nurses, therapists, case managers, and others, and we love what we do. We're good at it. But staffing turnover is a problem here because of wage stagnation and case overloads that push too many good people to seek out positions elsewhere. Imagine you have a fragile friend or loved one coming in to see their regular provider. Understand it took all they had, all the energy they had that day just to show up. When they check in, they are informed that their regular doctor or therapist is no longer there, but someone new will see them. They sink into their chair. They realize they will have to describe, once again, intimate details of the worst events of their life. to some new person they don't even know. I've seen this over and over. We support them through this added stress and anxiety the best we can because we care about them. And we are good. But still, it's very hard on them, and it happens way too often. Some will even leave, not receiving much-needed care. Please, members of the board, I ask that you work with my union. Together, we can improve working conditions and staff retention and better serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lydia, Lydia Gonzalez. I worked with the County of Kern for 3 years.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name.
Gonzalez?
Gonzalez, with a Z or an S?
With an S at the end.
Thank you.
And I am also a member of my union, SEIU Local 521. I work as an HST3 with DHS. I'm here today, though, as a mother of my son that was a recipient of behavioral health services. It took many years of behavioral health children's services, however, with the patience of behavioral health staff to disclose that he was sexually molested. I credit the entire behavioral health team for their dedication despite staffing challenges to working with children in our community. Without these services, my son and other fellow recipients of care will not become successful, productive members of our community. I work for DHS and I see how staff retention affects us every day. We don't have enough staff to handle the demand of the need of our community for public assistance benefits. Heavy workloads equal delayed services in all departments. Staff retention is the key to recipients receiving not only public assistance benefits, but behavioral health services. I ask that this board work with my union, and together we can improve the working conditions through a stronger union contract. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Odilia Araujo de Camacho. I'm going to spell it out for you. Odilia, last name Araujo, second word De, third word Camacho. I got married, it got complicated.
It happens.
Supervisors of the board, members of SEIU 521, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Odilia Araujo de Camacho. I've been with the county for 25 years and I am a proud member of SEIU 521. During the last contract negotiations in 2021, the county stated that 4% was the most financially that they could afford to offer the rank and file employees. Yet in January of 2023, a 22% salary increase was approved for detention deputies, with the board stating the increase would encourage recruitment. But 13 months before that, 4% is all they could afford for the rest of the county employees. In July of the same year, over 300 management employees also got a raise that cost an estimated $2.3 million. Some in management got raises of up to 30%. But 4% is all they could afford for the employees that keep this county running. And now the county is in negotiation with the union again, and they have come with an offer of nothing, zero. No raises, no COLAs. Why? Why is it that there was money for the county to spend after 2021, but now there isn't? Why is there no concern about encouraging recruitment for all the rest of the county departments, many of whom are woefully understaffed? Why? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman of the Board. My name is Maria Gonzalez with a Z.
I've been a human service technician for the Department of Human Service for 19 years, and I am a member of the union. I'm here today to comment about the wages. Okay. The inflation has grown up to 23%, and this is beginning in regards to the underpay and the understaffed. That's my concern that I'm here today. See, after COVID, I've seen the amount of staff deteriorating. Okay, there is no commitment when it comes to the Department of Human Services. As a technician, I'm a Human Service Technician 3. I've been seeing the deterioration going fast-paced. Workers coming in and leaving like an in and out. There is no commitment. And what we're trying to be here is to represent that we want for workers that are coming in to build a career with the Department of Human Services. You see, when these workers leave, they leave a caseload that we, the workers who are there, we have to fix. So at this point, I urge you, when it comes to the wages, to work with our union reps and consider that when you increase our pay, you will have loyalty of workers for you. I truly, and I'm a faithful believer, that what we reap, we will sow. So I urge you, Chairman of the Board, examine your hearts today. Examine your hearts. It says there, in God we trust. Do you trust God? Because I sure do. So I tell you today, examine your hearts. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
Hi, my name is Cindy Nava.
I'm sorry.
Last name Nava, N-A-V-A. Okay? Yes. Okay. I'll make it short and sweet because everybody already said basically the beginning why is the reason that we need a raise. But what they didn't say is that I'm here to ask if we could get a raise for the reason that 50 cents, 2% is not enough. Many of us have taken second jobs. Not only that, we sell our plasma for surviving. And not only that, half of our department are on government assistance to help their own in maintaining their daily life. So, like I said, short and sweet, we can't be ignored. And today I asked that with my SIU brothers and sisters, we fight along and hopefully to get what is for us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Janine, Jeanine, last name Adams, A-D-A-M-S. Chairman and members of the board, our county needs more transparent and accountable financial plan. The public deserves reasonable estimates of anticipated revenue as well as expenses. Understating revenue in the early stages of the financial planning process produces unreasonable restraints on the allocation of tax revenue, whether you are bargaining for your working class employees, cost of living adjustments, or making decisions about parks in underserved communities. Last year's 2023-24 mid-year budget review indicated that revenues were understated by $150 million. $20 million of this was due to the low real estate property tax estimate. This might seem small when compared to $3.9 billion overall county budget. However, this board has discretion only over $1.1 billion, the general fund for the county. $20 million shortfall in projected revenues is almost 20% of that total discretionary fund your board has control over. This is significant. We can expect more for the fiscal year 24-25. Executive summary indicates that there's going to be a decrease of overall revenues by 7%. This does not meet the quick math test. It is true that the oil and gas revenue is expected to decrease by 25%. However, oil and gas revenues are less than 1% of our overall tax revenue. I say that again. Our oil and gas revenue is less than 15% of our overall tax revenue. Think about it. If the oil and gas revenue went down 100%, that means that it would be decreased by 15%. How can our estimate in the executive summary say that it's going to be, our overall revenue is decreasing by 7%? It makes no sense. We need better than this.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. I think we're going to get you, are you going to stick around for the presentation? Excellent. Who'll be next?
Hector Vasquez, VASQUEZ. Good morning, sisters and brothers of SEIU Local 521, supporters from our community, Board of Supervisors. Thank you for joining us here today at this crucial moment. We stand united, not just as union members, but as dedicated public servants who tirelessly support Kern County residents every day. We are here because our voices need to be heard, our message needs to be clear. We demand respect, fairness, just working conditions, and genuine negotiations from Kern County. We found ourselves this morning at informational picket because Kern County negotiation team has chosen a path of disrespect and mockery rather than sincere negotiation. Our negotiating team has approached the bargaining table with the commitment to improving the working conditions for all of us, but instead of constructive dialogue, they have faced derision and dismissiveness. For months, SEIU Local 521 has been negotiating with Kern County in good faith. We have presented reasonable proposals that recognize the hard work and dedication of our members. We have asked for our fair wages that keep pace with the rising cost of living, for safe working conditions that allow us to perform our duties without undue risk, and for benefits that ensure the well-being of our families. However, despite our efforts, they have failed to acknowledge the critical role we play in making Kern County a safe, healthy, and thriving community. This lack of recognition is not just a slight against us, but against every resident who depends on our services. This behavior is not just unprofessional, it is a blatant disregard for the hard work and dedication we bring to our jobs every single day. We are here today to remind the Kern County Board of Supervisors that the strength of our community lies in the people, the social workers, the public health nurses, the administrative staff, the custodians, just to name a few. We are the backbone of this county. When our needs are neglected, the entire community suffers. We do not take the decision to picket lightly. We understand the impact it can have, but our voices must be heard. We call on the Board of Supervisors to come to the table with genuine intent to reach a fair agreement. We stand united in our demand for fair wages, safe working conditions, and the respect that we have earned through our dedication and hard work. We are not asking for luxuries. We are asking for what is right and just. Our requests are not unreasonable. They are the minimum we deserve.
Mr. Vasquez, can I get you to bring your comments to a close, please?
Thank you for your solidarity and your commitment to justice. Let's continue to stand strong, united, and unwavering. Thank you.
Thank you. Morning.
Hi, my name is Anna Medel, last name Medel. I don't really have anything prepared. I just have a lot of words and feelings. Honestly, I'm just angry. Y'all sit up there making who knows how much money when so many people in this county, the county that you look after, do not make livable wages. How dare you, honestly? Leticia, you're up there making all these faces and being like, oh no, oh my God, but what have you done? Where are you when we're out here talking to you all and telling you guys that we work part-time, we have to work 2 to 3 jobs just to stay afloat? What are you actually doing? Not to mention that Scrivener's not even here. Why? Because of the nature of the allegations that are against him, and his spot still exists. That's our money that's going into paying you guys. Y'all are so lucky you're even still elected. This is ridiculous, honestly. We come up here and we try to talk to y'all. We try to tell you where we're coming from, and there's nothing being done. There's no support. There's no wanting to work with us. Why? Nobody has an answer though, huh? Y'all work with all these organizations that are doing so many good things, and you guys do highlight them. I'm not gonna say that you don't. We saw that today with the Boys and Girls Club, right? But there are departments within this county that do the exact same work and don't get any recognition, don't get the pay, don't get the benefits. Do better. Do your jobs. If not, somebody else can.
Thank you. I ask you to hold it down if you wouldn't mind. That's it's not really well. We'll take a. I was going to take a recess, but they're being fairly quiet. Okay. Does that conclude public presentations? Is there anybody else here that would like to make a public presentation on any subject whatsoever that's not on the agenda today? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to board member announcements and reports. Is Miss Espinoza, would you like to go first? Is that you in the back? Yes, it is. Coming to the microphone is our auditor controller. Well, we wear about 4 hats: county clerk, registrar of voters. Thank you for meeting with me yesterday, by the way. I thought that was productive. But I wanted to give you a chance to, I know you've been away, you haven't been able to make all our meetings sometimes because you have to be in your office doing some work, and sometimes you've been, had to be called away from the office or out of town for various reasons. So you're here today, and I thank you for doing that. And I know you've got other things on your mind as you sit here today. So you heard a lot of comments today. You've heard a lot of comments over the weeks, even when you weren't able to be here. I know your staff has brought you up to date on those. So I want to give you a chance to respond to some of those. And specifically, you in our meeting, you mentioned some things about the voter rolls and that type of thing, the work you're doing. So I want to make sure you touch on that. So
Okay.
Floor is yours. Thank you.
Do I need to introduce myself again? Supervisor Amy Espinoza, Kern County Auditor, Controller, County Clerk, Registrar of Voters. So just a few things I was going to touch on, and yes, Supervisor Couch, talking about the voter rolls, that's my number one item today. So we have gotten, we confirmed with the state that we can go ahead and go through that process of removing people who are ready to be removed from the voter rolls due to a change of address. So there is a process, excuse me, a process that we have to go through, and it's actually quite lengthy, and I've talked about it before.
Well, could I ask you to do that again, because you reminded me of it yesterday, and I'd forgotten how cumbersome it was, but.
Sure, so if someone doesn't vote in an election, what we have to do is we have to send out a notification to them. If they don't respond, then we put them in an inactive status. What that means is that subsequent elections, they do not get sent a ballot. But we cannot remove them from the voter roll per state law until we've gone through 2 federal elections. So that's a quite lengthy process. But if they don't vote in any of those elections, if they don't respond to our correspondence, then once they're ready to be removed, we have to send another notification out to them, and then they have 15 days to respond. If they don't respond within those 15 days, then we can remove them from the voter roll. So we're working on that file right now and sending out those notifications. So I anticipate by the end of July, we will have processed all of those and removed. It's about 77,000 that we'll be sending out notifications for. I want to remind everyone that if anyone responds to us, then they will be taken off that list. If they respond and say, hey, no, I'm still here, I still want to vote, I'm still, don't cancel my registration, then by law, we cannot. Let's see.
By the way, the vast majority of those, well, I shouldn't say that, I don't want to characterize it, but many of the people that are on that list are well, maybe all of them are inactive, right?
Correct.
Which means they're not receiving a ballot?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we only send out to active voters in any election. Are there any more questions on that, on the voter rolls?
Anyone?
Okay.
Don't see any. Thank you.
So next item, really quickly, the issue was brought up that the registration numbers on our website and the state controller's website were wrong. So I appreciate our concerned citizens bringing the concern forward. We looked at that, and actually, when I went back and looked, as soon as I see the numbers, I know that what's being posted is incorrect, because we have about 440,000 voters, and we've been inching up, not 54,000 in 1 month or within a few days, but we have been inching up, and so I know that number is incorrect. So what we're doing on our website, what it was a program, and it's kind of an old program, from what I was told, is what it's pulling isn't what it should pull, I guess. So the way we are remedying that is we are going to take a PDF printout from our EIMS system and post it out on our website. So that is going to be the hard numbers. It's not quite as pretty as the program, but all of the information is there, and it's going to be current as of the day that we print it. So that's a way that we're trying to get out the correct information on a week-to-week basis.
So let's put our finger on for lack of a better term, we're blaming the reason that you saw a big increase one day or at some point in time in the voter registration in the report that's published that you have on your website, and then a decrease was this program that generates that report. Is that right?
Correct. And that's something that was built a long time ago, not by our county IT. Elections used to have IT personnel. There was a programmer specifically. So I know that there were some systems that were, or some programs, I should say, that were a little old, and we did roll them into our new website. And again, as soon as we realized that that's not the correct information, we did update that on our website.
So you're going to generate essentially your own report from the voter rolls as a PDF and post that.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's not names and addresses, it's a summary, which is the same information that was on the website,
Right,
just
okay.
what's our total number of voters.
Okay.
Let's see, there was something else I wanted to mention on that. Let me go into the comment on the memory stick into the tabulators. I want to remind everyone that we had 2 elections within 2 weeks of each other. The second election was not a small election. It encompassed half of our county, so it was a significant election. So we had certain tabulators that were prepared to count ballots for the March 5th election, and then we had to prepare separate tabulators to count ballots for the March 19th election.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Is that because the tabulators you prepared for March 5th are still counting ballots during the time of the March 19th election?
Correct.
Okay.
And by March 5th, we were already starting to receive ballots for the March 19th.
Oh,
So
I
we
see.
have to count those separately.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Someone made a comment that there were fraudulent ballots sent
So
out on.
back up. The memory stick, though, that is, what is that all about? Or it may not, whatever it is that the employee is inserting into the machine.
Okay, I want to remind everyone that our vote count system is air-gapped. I think that's the correct terminology, which means it's not connected to any other system. It's not connected to the internet. It's not connected to the county system. So there's no way to get information in or out unless you're using some type of storage device. And so in order to prepare the tabulators, each one has a laptop that's associated with it. In order to prepare those, there is a process as we're beginning to, and I'm going to explain it to you the way that I understand it simply.
If you got to lean on your staff a little bit, that's okay, because I do.
Well, then, I think I'll ask Pearson
Okay.
to come up and explain that process.
Okay. There's a lot of us that do, frankly. And we all lean on you, Kathy. You're the tent pole. Morning.
Good morning, Supervisor Couch. Good morning, Board Chair, Supervisors. My name is Pearson Jew, last name J-I-U. I'm actually Deputy Chief Information Technologies Services Officer for ITS. I actually worked in the capacity of a Technology Services Manager for the Elections Division for about 18 years. The system and the USB and the storage, the removable storage that's in question, in order to configure the tabulators, the elections project, and the Dominion voting system, certain data files needs to be imported from the voter registration system, which is on a separate network. In order for us to secure the ballot tabulation system, it has to be on a separate network so that there's no other access to it. In order to move that data, because there's no physical or logical connection over a network, it has to be on removable drives. In that room, there is a laptop that is certified by the EAC and the California SOS use procedures for the Dominion voting system.
Okay, hang on.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me like I'm a kindergarten.
Okay. So there is a laptop.
An EAC and something else.
Yeah, so the EAC is a federal commission established to help ensure elections integrity.
Okay.
So for their use procedures that say there is a laptop in the network that is separate from everything else that has antivirus on it. So in order for a file to move in and out of that network, that file needs to be scanned and just make sure that there's no any malware or any viruses on it. So in order to move data from the voter registration system to help build the election project, that data needs to be scanned before it enters that network.
And I'm sorry to ask you all these questions, but I'm trying to put it in words. Not that I don't understand your words, but I might not. And if I don't understand them, then a lot of people that are listening might not. In order to do that, you do that with this, what is it called? It's a memory stick, or what is it?
It's a thumb drive, flash
It's a thumb drive.
Yes, sir.
So you're preparing the vote tabulating machines with this thumb drive. You do that with, and this thumb drive is specific to a specific election.
That's correct. There are some thumb drives that stay inside that network. So from the Dominion system to the Dominion tabulators, there's infrequently, but when you first build the election project, there's one file that comes over from the voter registration system that's on a different.
I don't think I've ever heard that term, the election project. Does that mean you're counting votes in a particular election? What is the election project?
That's correct. So the election project is just basically the election file that's created for a specific election.
I see, okay. While you're there, let me ask my colleagues if they've got any questions. Don't see any, thank you.
All right, great, thank you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate him too.
I bet. Go ahead, sorry.
Totally fine. Just really quick on the January 5th, someone mentioned that ballots were sent out soon after January 5th, fraudulent ballots. That's not the case. We did not send ballots out till January 31st, so I'm not sure where that information comes from, but that was our drop date, January 31st, to send out ballots for the March 5th election.
The big number of, in the report, not in the actual voter file, but in the report that was online, you had a big increase and then they were taken off. All that occurred before ballots went out?
Correct.
Or were printed?
Correct, based on the statements that I heard earlier today, that they checked January 5th, and then 18 days later, which was before the 31st.
Gotcha.
They saw that fluctuation. Again, those numbers were inaccurate though, but there wasn't any increased registration and then pulling anyone off.
Okay.
I wanted to just make a point that the voter rolls do not affect the e-poll book functionality. What e-poll books are, they do not contain ballots. What they are is they replace the paper roster. For those of us who remember going to a poll site, you went to the table, they looked you up in the roster, you had to sign your name. It's just replacing that. We have an electronic way now to look up a voter, have them sign, and then be able to issue them a ballot. Or the e-poll books tell us that if someone has already voted, if they've submitted a vote by mail, then at the poll site, we can tell them, here it shows you've already voted. We cannot give you, we can't give someone a second ballot, but we can have them vote provisionally. So a lot of times people don't remember that they voted, especially because now we have a month before when people are receiving their ballots. Someone drops it in the mail, and then it's getting closer to election day, and they're going, gosh darn it, I can't find my ballot. Did I vote? And anytime we recognize someone who has voted twice, all of those names are sent over to the district attorney.
So when somebody has sent in a ballot, take that situation right there. They've sent in a ballot and then they've gone to a voting site to vote. And they get a provisional ballot because your worker there notices you've already sent in your ballot. And they voted. Which one do you count?
We count the one that came in first.
Okay.
I wanted to also just mention the greater access to observation. Someone came up and made a comment that we are not transparent enough for observers. I just want to remind everyone, remind the public that we have increased our area to even do signature checking with observers in mind. They do have to come into our office, but they can come in and observe. We've expanded those numbers of workstations where people are checking signatures, the initial signatures. And then we also have live streamed our vote by mail room. We've also live streamed our count room. We have a setup within our office for folks to come in and watch the cameras that are on our drop boxes throughout the county. And so I just want to remind everyone that things that we've done over this last year and a half to really increase transparency into the voting process for our voters to pop in to see what does that process look like, to see our workers working. And so I just wanted to remind everyone of that. I'm not sure where the comment came from, but I just felt that I needed to remind everyone that we've really been doing a hard job in increasing that transparency.
Your office in that area wasn't designed in the beginning to make it accessible and easy for people to come in and watch that, so you've had to modify it over time. If you need to do more of that to ensure the experience for folks, that it's open, transparent, and feel free to at least let us know. Based on the presentation we're going to get in a little while, we might not be able to do that right away, but at least we'll have your recommendation and can consider it. Thank you.
I just wanted to mention one more thing, if I may. For the $168,000,
Yes.
the item that came before, so that is going to be offsetting one of the projects that we're doing, the cameras at the warehouse. And someone mentioned that we're putting in a badge-only system, which is actually higher security. So yes, the room that has the badge access will only be accessible to people who actually have a badge. It's not an open room. We're installing it to increase security, and I want to make sure that the public knows that, because I felt that the way it was presented was that we were trying to hide something, and it really is to increase our security. And during the time that we are preparing our equipment, that area does have to be open to observers. So it's the same as here in our office. And so I just want to make sure that the public and your board is aware that even though we increase security in areas, it doesn't mean that it's inaccessible to observers during the time that we are required by law to allow observers in to watch what we're doing.
Okay. Questions from the board? Supervisor Peters?
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question. Well, it was brought up a couple times about, I think it was the DMV that automatically registers voters, even non-residents or non-citizens. How does that work as far as our local voting system? I know we're bound by state laws and voter ID requirements and all that, but are there any measures in between when those registrations happen through DMV till the time that, let's say, that a non-citizen may vote in an election in Kern County? Are there any things to circumvent that, or?
So I can tell you that we follow all of the laws of the state as we're registering, and on the DMV website, it is asking someone whether or not they are a citizen, and then they have to choose whether or not they're going to register to vote. But the question about citizenship comes up before, and I'm thank you for bringing this up, because I wanted to point out there was someone at our last meeting who got up and said that in the state of California, it is illegal to ask anyone if they're a citizen. That is absolutely untrue. Absolutely untrue. If it was illegal, the DMV wouldn't be having it on their website to ask. We wouldn't allow to put it on our registration forms. That's one of the first questions that we ask. So again, we can ask, we do ask, it's a requirement, and we follow all of the state laws as they relate to registering voters here in Kern County.
Okay, thank you.
You know, in our meeting, you and I met yesterday, and you told me some things that the state of California has done that are impactful to you and frankly make it much more difficult for you to do your job, much more cumbersome. And so I'm interested, as I told you yesterday, I'm interested in, I think one of the things we maybe don't do enough of is we often send letters to our legislators and to committees that are having hearings or to agencies. But I don't think we really advocate often enough or strongly enough when we see something that is just not working for us. If it's not working for us, it's probably not working for a bunch of people up and down the state. And so I want to really encourage you to work with us to take positions and advocate to make the changes. I've forgotten one of them surrounded the DMV. It's what prompted me to make this comment. What did you mention to me yesterday? And one of the things I want to ask you about, what did the DMV recently do, or what is the process that's causing you a lot of extra work? Can you remind me of that?
Well, the signatures.
Oh,
Because
that's
they're
right.
electronic signatures.
The electronic signatures, somebody may be already registered to vote, they go in and renew their license, they scribble because they're not really paying attention, it only picks up what's in the little space, and then you've got to use that signature, and then when they sign their ballot in the future, it looks nothing like that, and it just creates...
Then we have to send out a cure letter so that someone can
It's just-
sign their
yeah,
signature,
it
and then we
snowballs
can
on
count their
itself.
vote. Mhm.
So there are little things like that that I think we ought to raise to the attention of the people that make those decisions, because they're creating issues where none actually, or they ought to think through this. How are these things going to affect the people that actually do this type of work? So I'd like to advocate, help you advocate to make your job smoother, easier, and just more effective for better, people have a better experience when they're voting. Anything else you want to tell us today? Get on the record.
Just really quick, that we got through 3 elections in less than 2 months, which is a major feat. And so I'm really proud of my staff and all the support that we received from other departments, CAO, HR, ITS in particular, and all of our county department heads who assigned their management staff to assist with the election. It really does make a huge difference out in the field, especially going into November. And just thank you, board, for your support and general public support as well. It was a lot of work, but our staff went through very, very well. 3 successful elections, and we got to do some cross-training. We made some improvements, and I'm going to come back to your board the first board meeting in August to give a little update on those, and then kind of going into November, what voters can expect.
Would you be able to in August I know you've been working on this, the report that I had requested, that will be part of your August presentation?
I can include that, yes.
Okay, thank you. No questions from the board? Okay, thank you. We're still on item 4, board member announcements reports. Supervisor Perez, and then I have 2.
Thank you. I just wanted to inform
Thank
the
you, Amy,
county-
by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. Inform the county and the public that my Chief of Staff, Christian Romo's birthday was yesterday. And so I want to wish him a happy birthday. Christian is the youngest Chief of Staff on the 5th floor. He is the youngest head of a Dem party in all 58 counties. He works tirelessly to benefit Kern County, all of us, all of our residents, and leverages his relationships around the state and country to benefit and grow Kern County. And he is stunningly consistent, an incredible person of integrity. His work ethic is unmatched, and he absolutely loves Kern County. And I'm so lucky to have him, and Kern County is so lucky to have him. So from the bottom of my heart, Christian Romo, happy birthday, and thank you.
Thank you. I have 2. One is I want to, I'm just passing this chart out to you, and I want to give one to you as well. This is, and I'm sorry, let me tell you what it is first. Sorry, Kathy, you're too efficient. This is a chart that is at the Air District, and we hear a lot about, when we're considering projects, about the air quality impacts, and maybe that nothing has been done over the years, but this is just a simple chart that shows this is through 2023, it shows the last 43 years when the Air District, I think, began in 1980. And you can see a sizable reduction in on-road, other mobile, and area-wide sources and stationary sources. And there's a giant poster version of this that we have at the Air District, and I've ordered one, and I want to talk to you all about maybe displaying it in here somewhere, because a lot has been done. I know that from my office, you can see the mountains almost every day, and that was not true many, many years ago. There's one announcement. Secondly, am I announcing or am I calling for a special closed session on Thursday? What's the appropriate term?
Chairman Couch, I believe you are announcing that a special meeting.
It's already been noticed.
Has been noticed. Okay. And well, Kathy tells me I'm wrong. I can see her head.
Oh. I told you, you're the tent pole, Kathy, so keep it straight.
I would prefer that you call a special meeting.
Okay.
And announce when it is, because the agenda for a special meeting must be posted 24 hours before the meeting. Okay. And so it's not yet been posted.
So, and that's something the chairman can do. That's why you're asking me to do that. Okay. So I'm calling for a special closed session that will be this Thursday, a couple days from now, June 27th at 9 a.m. And the focus of that meeting, the only item on that meeting, is the recruitment of a CAO, Chief Administrative Officer, County Administrative Officer. Good enough? Yes. Okay. All right. That takes us, I think, to item 37. Excuse me. It's under the CAO. It's a proposed agreement with the Kern County Bar Association, the successful vendor in response to a request for proposals for management and administration of the county's Conflict Indigent Defense Program from July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2029, with an option to renew for 1 year through June 30 of 2030. Ms. Martinez, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This item is requesting your board's approval of the proposed selection of the Kern County Bar Association as the successful vendor in response to a request for proposal for the management and administration of the county's Conflict Indigent Defense Program. This is a mandated service required under Penal Code Section 987.2 and provides for assigned counsel to represent indigent individuals in the event of inability or conflict by the public defender. The current agreement expires June 30th of this year, and during the last negotiations 2 years ago, the Bar Association was notified that the county would go through the RFP process to ensure fair and transparent procurement process, secure better pricing, and increase the quality of services. I want to thank the past presidents of the bar, Xochitl Garcia and Tom Fair, and their consultant, Jimmy Yee, for understanding the need for an RFP. Mr. Joseph Arriola, Senior Fiscal and Policy Analyst, will provide your board with a brief overview of the proposed agreement.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The proposed agreement for the management and administration of the county's Conflict Indigent Defense Program represents the first competitive award for services going back to the inception of the program. In the county's effort to ensure the highest quality of service, vendors from across the region were solicited to provide proposals. To review the RFP and submitted proposals, the county brought together a committee comprised of one experienced criminal trial lawyer, one risk expert, and one expert in the financing and administration of an indigent defense program. Upon evaluation of submitted proposals, the committee delivered the recommendation of award to the Kern County Bar Association. The proposal demonstrated a deep understanding of the unique settings, circumstances, and approaches that are required for services and growth. The proposal also identified a model for quality assurance and effective staffing. Therefore, it is recommended that your board approve the selection of the Kern County Bar Association as the successful vendor in response to the request for proposals for the county's Conflict Indigent Defense Program, approve the proposed agreement for services from July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2029 in an estimated annual fiscal impact of $8.6 million, and authorize the chairman to sign. I'm available to answer any questions your board may have. Additionally, I'm joined here today by the Kern County Bar Association President, Mr. Paul Harmon, and the IDP Administrator, Mr. Dana Kinnison. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Before we go to the board, is there anyone here that would like to make a comment on this item? Good morning.
Morning, Chairman Couch, members of the board. My name is Paul Harmon. I'm the current president of the Bar Association. For over 25 years, the Bar Association has provided legal representation to indigent defendants through the Indigent Defense Program. IDP is only viable because of the countless volunteer hours contributed by the members of our Oversight and Qualifications Committees. Under their guidance, our administrator and staff assign cases to our panel attorneys whose effectiveness and passion are on full display daily in courtrooms across our county. The proposed agreement is the product of contributions from members of our committees and our panel attorneys, as well as the KCBA officers and directors. It's been a pleasure to iron out the details of the agreements with Mr. Aurelio and Mr. Alva. They were very knowledgeable of the program and well informed of the nature of the legal services to be provided under the agreement. They also clearly communicated the interests of the county. Most importantly, they negotiated with integrity. I encourage the board to approve the proposed agreement with KCBA. We are ready and eager to continue providing legal representation to those who cannot afford that basic right for themselves, and hope that you will entrust us with that privilege and responsibility. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon. Any others? Seeing none, I return to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our county has been well served by this arrangement for many years, and we have a local pool of local attorneys and expertise and volunteers, and no better entity is well served. Those that know our community, that knows our clients, and I just want to thank you to our staff, thank you to the Bar Association, everyone involved in the process to look for the best contract and the best taxpayer savings. And so with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 3 ayes, 2 absent. Supervisors Perez, Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you. That takes us to item 38, which is a proposed preliminary recommended budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. Back to you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I'm sitting here today as your interim CAO. I'm also as your chief financial officer, talking about doing 2 jobs, okay? So we are pleased to present you with the balanced preliminary recommended budget for fiscal year 24-25. So today is the first of 4 public meetings to discuss the county budget. The preliminary document before you to date is not intended to be modified, as it is a temporary budget until budget hearings are held and a final budget is adopted in August. In front of you is our timeline. We are at the green on June 25th with the preliminary budget. Our office will incorporate your board's direction received today in the final recommended budget. The budget would also be revised before budget hearing to account for final fiscal year 23-24 year-end fund balances and the assessor's final assessment roll. When we develop the preliminary budget, we evaluate 4 areas: state and federal actions, county's assessed valuation, property taxes, and other discretionary revenue, known and quantifiable changes in program costs and revenue, and the status of current year's budget and year-end fund balance. In January, the governor released a budget proposal that projected a multi-billion-dollar deficit. The projected size of the deficit depended on the source of the analysis. The governor's projected deficit was $37.9 billion, and in contrast, the Legislative Analyst Office projection was $73 billion. In the May revised budget, the governor unveiled a budget that, while closed the budget gap, it had over $38 million in reductions to county programs. Saturday, the governor and the California legislative leaders announced that they have reached an agreement on the state budget. While this compromise restores some of the funding removed in the May revise, the budget continues to rely on one-time solutions and deferrals, making it even more important that we plan for state reductions in future years. So now I'm gonna go just a high-level overview of the preliminary budget. The county's preliminary recommended budget today totals $3.9 billion, approximately $43.9 million less than fiscal year 23-24 adopted budget. So why is funding decreasing? $28.5 million decrease is American Rescue Plan Act funding. We are continuing to finalize those projects and spend those resources. $11.1 million decrease in sales tax and other taxes, including a projected $8.3 million decrease in Measure K funding. We have significant one-time funding coming through our sales tax so that we are not projecting in the next fiscal year. And I want to clarify one comment that was made in public that we underestimate. When you're preparing a budget, you are preparing a budget that relies on consumer spending. You can make predictions, but you can never get 100% accurate. I think I would prefer to be a little bit conservative and come back at mid-year and tell your board we have available resources to improve services, rather than be in front of your board asking you to take reductions and do layoffs. So yes, we are perhaps a little bit conservative, especially at this time. Those numbers get updated in the July presentation we'll be making, in the August final budget. We do budget projections in September, and we come back to your board in January again with changes. So it is a moving target. There is no science that I can tell you how much money people are gonna spend in our community. I don't know what those people are gonna spend statewide. Some of our sources are, revenue that comes from the state, revenue that comes from other counties. So there is not a single, crystal ball that I possess to make predictions. It is a moving target, and I prefer to be a little bit conservative rather than come back to your board and have layoffs and reductions in staffing. Prop 172 is another source that is declining, $6.9 million. This is again associated with sales taxes. And then we have a reduction on $11.9 million decrease in Mental Health Services Act funding. This funding is the tax on people making over $1 million. You have heard the reductions at the state level of this source of the capital gains, so we are also projecting a decline. The bottom line is $10.1 million decrease in property tax related revenue. And let me explain to you why we have this reduction. So for budget development purposes in January, the assessed values estimated including an overall increase of 1.1%. We originally projected a conservative 1.5 increase in assessed value for residential and commercial properties in the secure role. And based on volatility associated with regulatory process of permitting on oil and gas, assessment for those properties were estimated with zero growth for fiscal year 24-25. Since January, new information required updating the estimates to an increase from 1.5 to 3.5 for residential and commercial properties, and a decline of 25% in the oil and gas revenues. As a result, estimate had been updated for the preliminary budget and now reflects an overall decrease of $931 million, or 7% in assessed value. I want to get clear. I think there was a comment that 7% in revenue. No, this is assessed value. When you take the assessed value, and there's three components to estimating the property tax. The assessor estimates the assessed value. It is provided to our auditor controller that by law, but before September, has to give me an updated of the anticipated collection of property tax. There's a extremely complicated calculation that goes through that they decide, based on state law, what percentage of that assessed value comes to the county and property tax, what goes to the school, what is what we call the Educational Augmentation Fund, or ERAF shift. So there's a lot of calculation that happens after the assessed value is completed. And then our treasury tax collector has to collect the property tax. I wish I could tell you that we collect 100%. They do an excellent job, but we never collect 100%. So yes, the property tax fluctuates. Final numbers are not known until people come to our office and pay their property tax. So you are gonna have differential for what I started in January to where we actually ended up in January after the first property tax payment. Now, there was a comment about oil and gas properties now representing 10% of the AB. That is correct. Our oil and gas revenue is declining, And now that role represents only 10% of our total assessed value. That has nothing to do with property tax. Again, there's a very complicated calculation that our auditor controller has to go through to determine what percentage of that assessed value reflects a reduction in property tax. Let me give you an example. The city, you would assume that because Roll 2, the city of Bakersfield will see a reduction in property tax. That's not the case because most assessed value for that Roll 2 is in unincorporated areas of the county. So it affects the county and our fire fund more than it affects the city. It will impact some special districts that rely on that property tax, especially in our Taft area and those areas of the county that rely on Roll 2 property tax. So what does that do to our property tax? The net impact to the general fund of this projected overall decreases in value is a corresponding reduction of $10.1 million in property tax for the fiscal year 23-24 adjusted property tax revenue. Page 17 of your budget book has the discretionary revenue. So this 10.1 actually reflects 1.8%, not 7%, 1.8% in decrease in discretionary revenue. So the fire fund, as I told you, they also get impacted, and they will also see an anticipated $3.3 million less than the final 23-24 property tax estimates. So again, these are all estimates. The assessor will finalize the assessment roll on June 30th, and after which revenue estimates will be updated for the final recommended budget that will be presented to your board in August. This is just showing that property tax, while significant, is 62% of our discretionary revenue. We receive other funding sources. Sales tax, including Measure K, now is projected at $80.1 million, which is 14%, and then 58.2, another 11% of Measure K. So property tax and sales tax are a significant source of our discretionary revenue.
Can I pause you right there?
Yes.
What was projected at 80 million?
80 million is sales tax, and then our Measure K is 80.2, as shown in this graph.
So I see Measure K. Are you looking at this? I see it at 58.2.
58.2 is Measure K, which is sales tax, and then at the bottom of that graph on kind of lightish bluish is sales and use tax, our regular sales tax of 80.1. So combined, those two sources are sales taxes related.
So combined, we'd be at 138.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes. So our general fund appropriations are decreasing $4.1 million, primarily the result of spending down of prior year allocation of homelessness housing assistance and prevention grants, reduction in one-time allocations to our election departments, and potential reduction in state funding from public health that, as of Saturday, has been restored. The decreases offset increases for negotiated salary adjustment, including the most recently approved cost of living adjustment, and the implementation of the community priorities and enhanced services funded by Measure K. I would like to clarify the COLA. Since this county went through the 10th step in COLA, your board has authorized a total of 10% increase just for COLA. In addition, we have made adjustments to classifications, not just for detention deputies. We actually made adjustments to thousands of classifications since 2021, including behavioral health nurses that saw over a 23% increase, vocational health nurses saw a 38.3%. That's not including the COLA. Our park rangers, 38%. Our social workers, 10%, and on and on and on. We have made salary adjustments to many classifications impacting thousands of employees since 2021. This is in addition to the COLAs that your board has approved, which was a 4% the first year, 4% the second year, and a 2% most recently that will be implemented this July.
That's for which contract are you referring to when you say that?
The 10% COLA applies to all county employees. The salary adjustments are included for a lot of SEIU classifications. We have done adjustments for our detention deputies, but we have also made several equity adjustments for many classification under SEIU.
So the comments that we heard earlier this morning, the larger increases were, what would you call them, equity adjustments?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
One of the things that I included in the preliminary budget is the history, background, and the plan of transition of our park ranger program. This transition is detailed in the Sheriff's Office budget section of this book and remains in progress. Details regarding the transition are being organized to ensure the most efficient, successful, and compliant structure for operation of the park ranger program. That this transition continues to be carefully planned to ensure the best use of resources. We, unlike the city of Bakersfield, we have parks, campgrounds, lakes that our park rangers have to patrol. And while community ambassadors are great ideas for community parks, when you have parks that are spread over 8,000 square miles, you have to have a different approach than the city. And those are the plans we're working on with our sheriff and our general services department. There's a lot of steps that need to happen. There has to be communication with the state. There has to be communication with labor groups. There has to be communication with the affected employees. So we are going through that process. And before we finalize, we'll bring that to your board for final consideration. On Measure K, this is the second year of Measure K programs addressing the community priorities and setting aside some funding to protect against economic downturn. The preliminary recommended budget includes $48.4 million for projects that began in fiscal year 23-24 and 6 new initiatives totaling $3.2 million for investments in the care and upkeep of various county parks, emergency roads repairs, at-risk youth enrichment activities, enhanced treatment settings for in-custody youth, and enhanced spay and neuter mobile clinics on unincorporated area. I want to bring attention to that last item. This is in addition to the $500,000 that your board already provides to animal control services for spay and neuter efforts. This will be an additional recommended $500,000 to targeted areas that we continue to see a lot of animals coming from into our shelter. So overall, this budget reflects a balanced approach to ensure that we continue to provide quality of service to the public while continuing to provide the mandated and core services. The next public meeting to discuss the budget is scheduled for Monday, July 29 at 6 p.m. And this will be to hear public comment, and then again, Tuesday, July 30th. And finally, hearings will begin on Tuesday, August 27. The recommended action for today is for your board to approve the preliminary recommended budget for fiscal year 24-25 as presented. Before I conclude my remarks, I want to thank my staff in the Budget and Finance Division, department heads and their staff for their assistance. This concludes my prepared remarks, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. So let's open it up. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment on this item? Those of you that would like to speak, could I get you to come to the front row so we can get you to the microphone quickly? Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. And members of the board, I'm Michael Turnipseed. I represent the Kern County Taxpayers Association. This is about as negative, I think, as it can get. As we've talked to each of you and to Elsa and the appropriate people at the county, we projected that this was coming because of what's going on in Sacramento. And it's not just here. This week and last week in meetings, Santa Barbara reduced their oil roll by 21%. San Luis Obispo's roll was reduced 26%. And so 25% is probably a good estimate. But we also the fact that our oil rolls are down 61%. And the real question is, how do we quantify not just effects to the general fund, but what does this totally do to sales tax? And what does it do? We honored the Boys and Girls Club, obviously one of the most successful nonprofits. How has the money from the oil industry's normal donations declined? I don't have the ability to quantify that. I would like to ask the county today to help me, help Kern Tax, quantify the total loss of contributions to our nonprofit sector. And I pray to God it's not 61%. And when we get this information together, we need to take a road trip to Sacramento and say, this is what you're doing to us. And Kern Tax needs your help because, as you know, there's just me. And one person can't do this load by itself. And our board has been talking about this for months. And we need a way. We've asked and reached out to certain people, but it's not happening. We need somebody with a little more juice than Kern Tax to figure out how we can reach all of the hundreds of nonprofits that benefit from the oil industry and are suffering by its decline. And so I'd like to talk to you again. That's my second round of, we're going to plan another round to talk to all of you about this, but I want to plant the seed that we need to be doing this and change the way we message Sacramento and quantify how it's affecting everyone in this county, especially lower economics, healthcare, everything that you do and we do.
What you're specifically asking from us, I want to be clear on that.
I would ask.
You want to know, let me say it, you tell me if I'm right. You want to know if we can quantify, we can get the information for you, the impacts to the revenues or contributions to nonprofits in general in Kern County from the oil industry, meaning oil producers and oil service companies?
Yes, specifically. And if there's somebody else besides the nonprofits that are affected, because it affects the sales tax revenues in Bakersfield, I don't know. It's what it does to the city of Taft, what does it do to the school districts?
So you're looking for more than nonprofits then?
Oh, working with school districts right now. The Buttonwillow School District is trying to do a bond. 60% of their assessed valuation is one taxpayer.
I get you.
And if it's declined and continues to decline, and they go in and do a bond, that's going to fall on the remaining 40% to pay the whole enchilada. And we have to figure out, and you can work with the superintendent of schools, I think, on that, but I think that we need to change our focus and say, look, we have to quantify everything and everybody who's been affected, not just the county general fund.
Gotcha.
Are there any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you for your time.
I don't see any lights on anyway. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Placencia. That's Sandra Plascencia. And I am a Kern policy advocate with Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability. Thank you for the opportunity to comment today. Leadership Council works alongside some of the most impacted communities to advocate for sound policy, eradicating justice, to secure equal access to opportunity regardless of wealth, race, income, and place. We work within the county and alongside the communities of Fuller Acres, Hilltop, Donny Street, Lamont, Greenfield, Rexland Acres, Casa Loma, and Weed Patch. As the county advances towards adopting their 24-25 county budget, we uplift the concerns that communities have raised with the Leadership Council. We hope the county can identify different ways to incorporate resident budget requests in the upcoming 24-25 budget cycle. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the community of Fuller Acres. One of their first asks is a traffic feasibility study, right? In the past, we have asked for speed humps, which the county deemed not allowable, right, because of how their streets are set up. We've also asked for sidewalks, which would take a really long time to complete, so the county also has not invested in that. And so we really have no mitigation measures. Cars are speeding up and down the street all the time. There's kids out. It is very dangerous, right? We don't have sidewalks. We don't have bike lanes. We don't have anything, right? So the community is asking for a traffic feasibility study so we know what can be placed in the community and how we can make the streets safer. The second thing that the community asked for is a bus shelter in front of the market on Weed Patch Highway. We understand that it's Caltrans jurisdiction, but Caltrans is currently working on updating Weed Patch Highway, including sidewalks, curb and gutter, things like that. We think a bus stop would be great. In the letter that I attached, there's pictures of kids getting on the bus, giant puddles and things like that. That will hopefully be fixed with the Caltrans project. But as a lot of children and adults use the Get Bus system and Kern Transit, they need a bus shelter, right, to keep them safe from the sun and things like that. So we encourage the county to work alongside Kern Transit, Kern COG, the school district, and Caltrans to ensure that there is a bus shelter moving forward. And then the last thing that the community asked for is funding from the Arvin and Lamont EOA funds for septic improvements, repair and dumping as an interim solution while they consolidate their wastewater with Lamont, right? And then we specifically asked you, Supervisor Couch, to meet with Leadership Council and Self-Help so we can talk about what our proposal looks like. We are working on a proposal. Self-Help would run the program, and we are very eager to meet with you and talk about this further. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight upon, just in general over like the entire county and the communities that we work with, is as the county works on meeting compliance with their 6 cycle housing elements, we just wanted to uplift that we would love to see rehab and weatherization programs, rental assistance, eviction right to council programs, a community land trust, and also an affordable housing trust fund as well. And we hope that funding can be matched with the state funding, federal funding, and also Measure K. Thank you so much.
Can you do me a favor, Senator?
Yes.
While you're here, can you go upstairs and see either Isabel or Maria and see if you can get them to get you on the calendar?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Good morning.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Laura Vargas.
I'm going to be translating for them.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Laura Vargas.
Venimos porque tenemos 4 días sin agua en nuestra comunidad y queríamos ver si nos podemos cambiar al East Niles Water, y porque tenemos ya mucho tiempo con este problema. Tenemos vecinos que tienen 40 años con este problema. Tenemos 4 días sin agua, no se nos notificó nada.
So my community has been without water for 4 days, and we are hoping to consolidate our water system with the East Niles water system in Bakersfield.
Pues nos gustaría que se hiciera lo más pronto posible. Sabemos que va a tardar tiempo, pero ya no creemos que el Señor vaya a cambiar, porque cuando nosotros le hablamos para decirle por qué no hay agua, nos grita. Incluso la supervisora Leticia Pérez estuvo en una junta que tuvimos ayer de vecinos.
So we know that consolidation will eventually happen, but we are asking that it happens as soon as possible. Whenever we call the man at the mutual, he usually yells at us and is very aggressive towards us. And we thank Supervisor Leticia Perez for being with us last night.
Tuvimos la junta a las 5 ayer. Ella escuchó más de 50 personas quejándose de la misma situación.
We had the meeting yesterday with Supervisor Perez at 5, and we thank her for listening to the over 50 people who had very valid concerns over their water.
Porque es un abuso, ya no nos dicen, van a estar 4 días sin agua, nos pone 2 paquetes de agua afuera y cree que con eso vamos a estar.
This is an abuse. He doesn't tell us when the water is being shut off. It's been 4 days now without water, and he just hands us 2 packets of water saying that that's going to be enough for us.
En la escuela Shirley Lane nos ayudaron y nos están proveyendo agua.
At Shirley Lane, they are giving us water.
Estamos agarrando agua en cubetas, en lo que podemos.
We are carrying water with whatever we have, buckets or anything else.
Porque ellos ni siquiera nos ayudaron con eso.
because the mutual wouldn't even help us with that.
Y pues eso sería mi comentario, que por favor pudieran ayudarnos para conectarnos a un agua pública, porque el agua privada está muy contaminada y no nos hacen caso.
And so my ask is that you help us connect with a public water system because the private one is abusive and the water is also contaminated.
Y el único problema que nos dijeron que cuando empezara a pompear el pozo, o hirvieran el agua por 2 días. ¿Ustedes creen?
¿Puede decir su nombre?
¿Ah?
Su nombre.
Oh, Elizabeth Pardo. Pardo.
Pardo.
P-A-R-D-O?
Yeah.
Pardo.
Thank you.
Sí.
Okay. Okay. Yo también vengo de la comunidad y estoy muy frustrada con este tipo de servicio que tenemos del agua, porque nos mandaron una carta ellos diciendo que el agua está contaminada y nos dijeron que la hirviéramos por 2 días. ¿Y qué pasa? Después de esos 2 días, nosotros vamos a seguir tomando el agua y ¿qué? Nos vamos a enfermar. Nos vamos a enfermar.
I am also a part of that community. We got a notice that the water is contaminated and we need to boil it for 2 days. And I asked what happens after 2 days. Will I be able to drink the water or will I end up getting sick?
Y también ese señor no nos da la oportunidad, por ejemplo, nosotros tenemos que mandar el recibo por correo, pero si él no recibe el dinero, él viene y nos corta el agua y no nos da ni una noticia de que va a cortar el agua. Él nada más llega y corta el agua y yo digo, yo por mí, yo también tengo hijos y otras personas de ahí, de esa comunidad, tienen hijos. ¿Qué hacen sin agua? Como por ejemplo ahorita con estas temperaturas de 108 y sin agua, ellos no nos proveen nada.
So we have to send our payments through the mail, and he doesn't always receive the payments. And so he would just come and shut off our water without telling us. I am a mother with children,
Y
and
cobra $100 para volverla a instalar.
and he also charges $100 to start reconnect it. Yeah, and she asked, as a mother with children, what is she supposed to do with no water and 108-degree heat?
Como por ejemplo, muchas casas en este condado tienen los coolers para con esas temperaturas y sin agua. Imagínense cómo están sufriendo.
So a lot of houses in this community have swamp coolers that need water, and without water, what are they actually supposed to run the swamp coolers with?
So yo por eso vengo a pedir la ayuda de ustedes, de la comunidad y de todos los que quedaron allá atrás, que nos ayuden porque ya estamos cansados de ese sistema de agua y no es solamente ahorita, lo cortan casi una vez por mes o por semana.
Cuando les da la gana ya no tenemos agua. El señor es un señor mayor, es el Victory Mutual Water, los que nos proveen el agua a nosotros. Le llamamos y se enoja, nos grita, nos insulta y nos cuelga. Solamente, bueno, diga.
Yeah, so they are coming here to ask all of y'all for help to see what can be done because they are tired of dealing with this man who shuts off the water at least once a month, if not once a week for folks. And every time folks call him to complain, he yells at them, insults them, verbally abuses them, and treats them really bad. And they did say that the name of the mutual is Victory Mutual.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Esperamos que nos ayuden, por favor.
Please help us.
Thank you for your comments. Supervisor Perez, I see you have your
Yeah,
mic.
thank you, Chairman. So we had a very important meeting yesterday, and it was very illuminating and I think very therapeutic for the community to come out and be able to communicate to the water district a whole host of pretty serious mismanagement realities that exist in this community. I think you've laid them out very well here today. We need to spend the next 6 months reorging this water district. Unfortunately, I've seen this so many times. It's so typical. It's very sad. It doesn't mean it's okay, and I'm not making excuses for them. It's very typical to be under-resourced, understaffed, and to just be in over their heads. We actually need to come in and revamp the system. This is why we're going to be there once a month for the next 6 months, so that we can explore the bylaws, recruit new board members, and transition the management of this water system with greater resources, sophistication. And we've been meeting with folks from that at a very high level right before this occurred with Connie Conway and another former legislator who are working on bringing serious dollars on infrastructure upgrades in these kind of rural communities. So the timing is very good. I am so sorry for what you're experiencing. I know Kern Health Systems and Centric Health took out mobile showers out to the school today, lots of water, and I know that's not the same as having water in your house, but the community has come together rapidly. My office in particular, Christian Romo, who has been round the clock working with these Niles because we know that paperwork has been filed and we need to get everything together and make it appropriate. So we will be back once a month and we'll be disseminating that through flyers and other information on the Nextdoor app or whatever they were talking about last night. I'm not as familiar with that, but we will let you know. We will be there for the next 6 months for upgrade of the bylaws as well as new board membership and frankly to train the board members on how we not end up in this situation again. So I am so sorry. It's horrifying to think about, but I promise you we're on it and it is very important. And thank you for coming and voicing your concerns here today. It is important and we are working on it. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you. Any other comments? Please come on down.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Diana Mireles. I'm a community organizer with Center Race Empowering and Environmental. First, I want to say thank you. 2 weeks ago, we have a meeting with Supervisor Couch and Mrs. Martinez. I want to appreciate the time that you give it to us. And we talk about the projects. That's right, we are here. We are encouraged to allocate. I know it's very hard, but to allocate more money on the infrastructure. You see what's the needs for each community that our organization works. We have some of the residents here with me from Mlan and Arvin, and that's very important. I know sometimes we cannot have all the money from the budget, but you always work with us to find another resource for the different grants. But we encourage all the supervisors to allocate those monies because the security, I know it's important with sheriff, but our security for us is the sheriff, but the kids to the safety to walk to schools, the elders people that they have wheelchairs, electrical chairs, and they have to drive on the streets because they don't have sidewalks and there's a dirt. Sometimes they're stuck in the dirt. The kids going to school to walk, they fell in the dirt. Sometimes on the rainy days, they fell in the mud. So that's not fair for them. So they need to be more safe, even the parks, the flooding. So that's why we're here to advocating for that, to allocate more money on the budget. And I have the residents that way want to say something for each community. So, and I want to translate too. So.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Estela Escoto y soy de la comunidad de Arvin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Estela Escoto, and I'm from Arvin resident.
Soy miembro del Comité para un Arvin Mejor.
I'm member for the Committee for a Better Arvin.
Y solo estoy aquí para darle las gracias al supervisor Couch.
I'm here just to give thanks to the Supervisor Couch.
Porque se toma el tiempo para escuchar todas las necesidades que tenemos en nuestras comunidades.
Because he always takes the time to listen to all the necessities in the communities.
Y principalmente por las calles que están en muy mal estado, que se conectan con la ciudad de Arvin.
Especially for those streets that they are really in the bad conditions that connect with Arvin.
Y esperamos que las peticiones que le hicimos, pues, las tomen en cuenta y algún día se logren hacer.
And we hope that all the petitions that we do it to him, you can take care of them, and one day we can have all this progress.
Ya que como nos conocen aquí, siempre estamos aquí pidiendo por nuestras comunidades y yo creo que lo vamos a seguir haciendo hasta que se logren todas nuestras metas que tenemos para nuestras comunidades.
Like we always here, and we are going to be here until all the needs are complete, our wish lists are complete.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Obdulia Pérez.
Good morning, my name is Obdulia Pérez.
Soy del Comité Progreso del Lamón.
I'm the Comité Progreso del Lamón.
Y solo estoy aquí para agradecer por todo lo que se ha estado haciendo en nuestra comunidad.
And I want to here to say thank you for all that you guys doing and Supervisor Couch is doing in our community.
Y esperamos que nos tomen en cuenta en el presupuesto que hay para seguir continuando con nuestros proyectos y llevarlos a cabo a término.
And I hope we are here to advocate for the budget to work with all the projects that we still need.
Muchas gracias y tengan un buen día.
Thank you and have a good day.
Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Garcia. I'm just here to support all of them. It's all of the same thing. We have many problems in our community, and we want you guys to know to help us with our problems. And just to say thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mrs. Martinez, for the last meeting. It was great. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to point out that anything that we're able to do is largely due to the staff. And as I pointed out that day, I don't remember what time we met. I think we met at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. And by the time we were done, it was about 6:30. And I said, there are 58 counties in California, and I think only one CAO takes a meeting at 4:30 on a Friday, and that's Elsa Martinez. So thank you, Elsa, for your help.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Any other comments today on the budget, or item 38, which is the budget? Seeing none, I'll return it to the board for any questions or comments or a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second.
Do we need a fourth vote?
Please cast your votes.
Cast-
Yes, we do. Oh, majority is, I thought he was sitting there. So don't ask me, I don't know what just happened. We don't, we're good with 3.
Okay, so the motion is approved, 3 ayes, 2 absent, Supervisor Flores, Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you. By the way, that's a very quick motion and a quick vote, but I know that takes a lot of work just to put together the preliminary budget. So Elsa, thank you to you and all your staff for all the work that you guys have done on that in a difficult time. Thanks. That's the end, I believe, of the morning agenda. I just need a motion to adjourn to closed session.
So moved.
Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.